The influence of Renaissance art has shaped the way society envisions Jesus Christ, presenting him as a figure with European features. Yet, historical evidence paints a much different picture, one that has sparked a new wave of conversation, thanks to Elon Musk. In a recent live stream, he boldly asserted that Jesus' true physical appearance aligns more closely with the Afro-Semitic populations of his time. This claim, backed by historical and anthropological studies, has captivated and divided audiences globally. Does this revelation challenge societal perceptions of faith and race? And how might reimagining such a pivotal figure reshape our understanding of religious and cultural history? These questions linger as Musk's controversial statements continue to echo across platforms. During the livestream, he stated, "If you look at the historical context, it's plausible, maybe even probable, that Jesus wasn't the European figure often depicted in art." He emphasized that Jesus, born in 1st century Judea, would have likely resembled the darker-skinned Afro-Semitic populations of the region. If you enjoy content that helps you grow spiritually, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our community for more inspiration. Let's get started. Musk delved into the geographical proximity of Judea to North Africa and the Middle East, highlighting the diverse phenotypes of the region's inhabitants during that era. By referencing Roman-era studies and ancient Jewish demographics, he argued that Jesus' portrayal as a pale, blue-eyed man was a construct of European cultural dominance. Further, Musk cited how Renaissance artists, including Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, created iconic depictions of Christ that mirrored the European ideals of their patrons. These images, disseminated through centuries of art and later media, became the default representation of Jesus, sidelining historical accuracy for cultural conformity. Musk's claim wasn't just about correcting historical inaccuracies, but also addressing the broader implications of rethinking Jesus' identity. He posed a provocative idea to his audience. What would happen if society widely accepted a non-European Jesus? This shift could have transformative effects on discussions about racial identity, social structures, and the foundations of religious power. He suggested that this reimagining could serve as a catalyst for greater inclusivity and self-reflection within faith communities. The audience's silence following his remarks spoke volumes, an unexpected pause in a space usually buzzing with constant discourse. The quiet wasn't mere agreement. It reflected the weight of an idea challenging centuries of reinforced narratives. His suggestion of Jesus as a man of color wasn't a standalone statement, but a symbolic unraveling of Eurocentric frameworks that have long shaped religion, art, and social constructs. His brave claim has led to a better look into facts that have been buried or obscured for hundreds of years. In moments like these, when long-standing narratives are called into question, understanding and insight become more crucial than ever. This is exactly what Banned Secrets: The Lost Knowledge of Jesus offers, a path to clarity and peace through his revelations. This ebook goes into his prophecies and offers insight into what lies ahead. It's available for free in the pinned comment. Grab it now before the edition's gone. Online, reactions were anything but silent. Platforms lit up with hashtags like Young Black Jesus and Young Musk Debate trending almost instantly. Supporters and critics alike dissected his words, each side polarizing the issue further. The debate wasn't limited to the theological implications. It delved into cultural identity, historical accuracy, and the authority of influential voices like Musk's in navigating such topics. Criticism surged, questioning the intent behind his bold claims. Was this merely a calculated move for publicity, or an earnest attempt to ignite meaningful dialogue? Skeptics pointed to his lack of formal expertise in history or theology, emphasizing the complexity of the topic. However, defenders argued that his influence could spur widespread interest in re-examining historical narratives. By leveraging his platform, they claimed, Musk was encouraging a broader audience to engage with anthropological studies and question long-standing assumptions. This conversation extended beyond social media into academic circles and religious communities. Historians revisited the diverse depictions of Jesus in early Christian art, particularly those from regions like Byzantium and Ethiopia. These representations, far removed from the pale, westernized images dominating European art, aligned more closely with the Afro-Semitic features Musk highlighted. The discussion gained further traction as it highlighted the implications of a more historically accurate portrayal of Jesus. Reframing him as a man of color directly challenged the colonial and supremacist ideologies that shaped his Europeanized image. This wasn't merely an artistic or theological debate, it questioned power dynamics entrenched in centuries of cultural dominance. Musk's broader message became increasingly clear. Innovation is not confined to science and technology, but also involves re-evaluating narratives that underpin societal structures. By presenting Jesus through a lens of historical accuracy, he not only stirred debate, but also encouraged critical thought about how history is written, and by whom. This act of reframing carried the potential to reshape dialogues on race, faith, and global cultural identity. One of the most striking elements of the ensuing discourse was the role of forensic and historical reconstructions. Modern analyses, drawing from archaeology and ancient texts, have pieced together a more accurate depiction of first-century individuals from Judea. These studies depict Jesus with darker skin tones, curly hair, and features consistent with the Middle Eastern populations of his time. Musk's invocation of these findings brought renewed focus to how such imagery contrasts sharply with the westernized depictions prevalent today. Religious leaders across the globe weighed in, their reactions spanning a spectrum from cautious agreement to outright rejection. Some progressive theologians saw Musk's comments as a necessary intervention, a way to dismantle the harmful legacy of colonial Christianity. They argued that embracing a historically accurate Jesus could pave the way for a more inclusive understanding of faith, one that resonates across diverse cultural and racial backgrounds. Keep in mind that further thoughts are just a click away as you learn more about these groundbreaking ideas. Our exclusive ebook is available now, but copies are limited. Don't wait to secure yours. On the other hand, more traditional voices viewed Musk's assertion as provocative and unnecessary. For them, the image of a European Jesus remains a deeply personal and spiritual symbol, integral to their understanding of Christ's divinity. This resistance underscores the complexities of revisiting long-held religious traditions and the emotional weight tied to sacred imagery. Outside religious circles, the dialogue expanded into academic and activist spheres. Scholars highlighted the importance of revising outdated depictions of biblical figures, arguing that doing so would challenge the racial biases ingrained in global Christianity. Activists, particularly from marginalized communities, embraced the notion of a Black Jesus as a symbol of empowerment and justice, aligning his identity with modern struggles for racial equality. The cultural ripple effects were undeniable. Social media buzzed with debates, hashtags, and heated exchanges. Musk's comments forced many to confront uncomfortable questions about representation, identity, and the role of religion in perpetuating social hierarchies. For some, the controversy was less about theology and more about the broader implications of who gets to define history and who benefits from those definitions. The polarized reactions to Elon Musk's statements underscored the broader cultural significance of representation in religious imagery. While some dismissed his remarks as unnecessary provocation, others saw them as a challenge to centuries of racial and cultural exclusion. Social media became the front line of these debates, but the discussions didn't remain confined to digital platforms. They spilled into churches, universities, and public forums, revealing divisions in how different communities perceive the image of Jesus. In academic circles, the debate over Jesus' racial identity gained fresh momentum. Anthropologists revisited evidence about first-century Judea's ethnically diverse population, while theologians debated the implications of aligning Jesus with marginalized identities. For scholars like Dr. Rebecca Cohen, Musk's comments opened a door for long-overdue public engagement with these studies, moving conversations out of specialized journals and into mainstream discourse. However, the issue remained fraught with complexity. While some historians acknowledged the plausibility of Musk's assertion, others were quick to point out that labeling Jesus as a black figure risked oversimplifying his identity. The region's history as a cultural crossroads introduced a blend of phenotypes, languages, and traditions that resist easy categorization. Dr. Anthony Rivera emphasized that while artistic reimaginings of Jesus as a man of color could foster representation, reducing him to a single racial identity might neglect the rich cultural diversity of his era. In religious institutions, Musk's remarks continued to spark contrasting reactions. Conservative congregations often leaned into traditional depictions, emphasizing the universality of Jesus' teachings over his physical characteristics. Progressive faith communities, on the other hand, seized the moment as an opportunity to address systemic issues within their own structures. Leaders like Rev. Dr. Cynthia Marshall encouraged deeper reflections on how whitewashed religious imagery had shaped perceptions of power, faith, and belonging. The African American theological tradition, particularly the tenets of Black liberation theology, became a focal point for many discussions. For theologians rooted in this tradition, the notion of Jesus as a man of color wasn't merely about historical accuracy, it was a reclamation of spiritual narratives. Figures like James Cone had long asserted that Jesus' experiences of marginalization aligned him with the struggles of oppressed groups, making him an enduring symbol of resistance and hope. This conversation challenges us to rethink everything we know, and if you're seeking further clarity, our free ebook offers invaluable perspectives. Grab your copy today, there's only a few left. Musk's words also resonated in contemporary political and social contexts. For communities still grappling with systemic racism, the image of a black Jesus carried a powerful message. It served as a reminder that religious stories could be reframed to include and validate the experiences of marginalized people, challenging centuries of exclusionary practices within global Christianity. The viral nature of the discussion amplified the intensity, transforming what began as a historical and theological conversation into a broader cultural moment. Amid the flood of reactions, Afrocentric depictions of Jesus began to circulate widely online, often paired with captions challenging traditional portrayals. These images resonated deeply with individuals and communities who had long felt excluded from religious narratives shaped by Eurocentric traditions. For many, these visual reinterpretations were more than aesthetic. They represented a reclamation of identity and faith, a way to see their own stories reflected in sacred imagery. However, this digital discourse also revealed the complexities and pitfalls of public engagement. While some used the opportunity to explore the anthropological and historical evidence Musk referenced, Others exploited the moment to spread misinformation or fan ideological divisions. Memes and clips of his live stream were frequently decontextualized, reducing his comments to sound bites that sometimes missed the nuance of his argument. These distortions often became tools for online culture wars, diverting the conversation away from its deeper implications. Meanwhile, religious institutions faced mounting pressure to respond. Progressive churches embraced the opportunity to re-examine their depictions of Jesus, with some leaders using his comments as a springboard to address broader issues of racial representation in Christianity. For example, sermons and community forums began exploring how religious imagery could better reflect the diversity of the global Christian population, fostering discussions about inclusion and historical accuracy. Conservative congregations, however, were more hesitant. Some dismissed the controversy entirely, focusing instead on the spiritual essence of Christ's teachings. Others, though reluctant to engage directly with Musk's statements, found themselves grappling with questions from their congregations about the historical accuracy of traditional depictions. These conversations, even when framed as internal debates, marked a shift in how churches addressed the intersection of faith and representation. For many younger Christians, the controversy was a wake-up call. Online discussions highlighted the generational divide, with younger believers more open to reimagining Jesus in a way that aligned with their values of diversity and equity. This generational shift, coupled with Musk's influence, ensured that the debate over Jesus' racial identity would not fade quickly, but remain a topic of ongoing exploration and challenge. His commentary on Jesus' racial identity has continued to ripple through cultural, religious, and academic landscapes, fostering intense debate and reflection. As discussions evolved, the focus shifted to how religious imagery impacts societal structures, challenging institutions to reconcile long-held traditions with a more inclusive vision of divinity. Religious leaders, theologians, and activists began pushing for broader representation within sacred art and iconography, reflecting the diverse origins of the global Christian community. Moments like this invite us to explore essential truths. Don't miss the chance to uncover more wisdom in our ebook, still available, but not for long. Progressive movements saw an opportunity to reframe the narrative, advocating for depictions of Jesus that resonate with underrepresented populations. These efforts often highlighted the symbolic power of a Black Jesus, not merely as an accurate historical depiction, but as a representation of solidarity with oppressed and marginalized communities. For many, reimagining Jesus as a man of color became a statement against the exclusionary practices of colonial Christianity, which historically imposed Eurocentric images on societies around the world. This movement was particularly impactful in non-Western regions where Christianity continues to grow rapidly. In Africa, Asia, and Latin America, faith leaders began revisiting their depictions of Christ, emphasizing imagery that better aligns with local, cultural, and historical contexts. For these communities, the shift signified more than artistic accuracy. It represented a reclamation of identity and agency within a religious framework that had often been shaped by colonial powers. In the United States, conversations took on a dual tone, addressing both historical erasure and contemporary racial inequities. African American pastors and theologians emphasized the theological resonance of a Black Jesus, aligning his narrative with the struggles of their communities. These leaders argued that reframing Jesus' image could inspire greater empowerment and spiritual connection among Black Christians, fostering a sense of belonging within a tradition that had often marginalized them. Yet, resistance persisted among conservative circles, where the traditional European portrayal of Jesus remains deeply ingrained. For many, these depictions are tied to personal spirituality and cultural identity, making challenges to them feel like threats to foundational beliefs. Some dismissed Musk's comments as sensationalist, while others cautiously engaged, acknowledging the importance of representation but hesitating to disrupt established iconography. If this message makes you think and you feel it connects with you, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Also, if you really want to support our work and help us keep creating valuable content, consider giving us a super thanks. Join this amazing community and don't miss any news. Artists and cultural creators began taking these conversations into new mediums, using Musk's statements as inspiration for works that reimagine religious figures through diverse lenses. This creative movement extended beyond the church, with films, visual art, and literature exploring the implications of inclusive religious narratives. These projects often sparked controversy, but also drew attention to the transformative potential of questioning traditional imagery. Through these ongoing dialogues, his remarks underscored the enduring power of representation. By compelling institutions and individuals to revisit their assumptions about race, religion, and history, his statements ignited a discourse that promises to shape the future of faith communities and societal norms alike.